Welcome to Last Week in Warframe, a series where I keep you updated on the past week of Warframe by compiling all news, announcements, and general posts by the developers from the forums, Reddit, Twitter, and even their live streams. Timestamps to each topic as well as their sources are in the description, so without further ado, let's go over these announcements and news from the 18th to the 22nd of March. Starting with a developer workshop sharing information about new changes coming with this week's update on all platforms, that being Scarlet Spear. The following status mods will have their stats adjusted. Hammer shot status chance will be increased to 80%, stunning speed status chance will be increased to 30%, and then the status chance on shattering justice will be changed to multiplicative, and its status chance will be increased to 90%. The crafting time for former Orokin Catalyst, Reactors, and Xless adapters will be reduced to 23 hours opposed to the previous 24, with DE saying, when building former or another similar item, having a 24-hour limit meant that players who signed on at a regular time would see some delays in when an item was ready. We wanted to be respectful of a player's playing time, and by making it 23 hours, they can grab their completed item and start another build without upsetting their routine. Continuing onward, the Magus lockdown Operator Arcane will have its damage removed completely. When the update goes live, at a time only 2 tether mines can exist per player, but each mine can tether 10 enemies. If you activate the Arcane again with 2 mines already active, the first mine will be replaced. The update will also remove the Magus lockdown's ability to affect the Golden Maw in the War Within quest. DE explained the change. Magus Lockdown has a reputation for being the CC and damage meta, and after some review, it is not hard to see why. There are cases where Magus Lockdown has wiped entire waves of Elite Sanctuary Onslaught without the need for a weapon or Warframe power, and that is not what we had in mind for the design of this. Next up, the Rakta Dark Dagger, as of the update, will no longer provide shields when attacking enemies if you have no shields. Titania will be receiving a new passive as of Scarlet Spear. She will generate health for herself and allies when she casts abilities. Titania will continue to have improved parkour, her Razor Wing will also receive blink, and a fix will be coming for an issue where casting Razor Wing while in a specific simulacrum situation would result in a white screen. Now, Grendel's Nourish will get a gear wheel to select the buffs. Grendel will be able to consume grenades, and sentient enemies when consumed by Grendel will be regurgitated after a timer runs out. Kuva Liches will be affected by status effects, but no status effect will be able to exceed 4 stacks with the exception of Impact, which will be able to stack up to 6 times. Cooldowns will be added to status effects on Liches. When it comes to the Radiation status effect, it will not make the Lich fight against its own faction, and instead when the Lich gets affected by Radiation, its faction will deal extra damage to it. Lastly, for the Dev Workshop, there are status effect changes. Impact will no longer knock down enemies with multiple stacks, instead each new impact proc will make the enemy stagger more and more, and when reaching 5 stacks, the enemy will do a heavy stagger. The impact status effect will also increase the chance of a Parazon finisher by 10% with each proc. Toxic Ancients will no longer provide a gas status reduction to its teammates, and the gas status effect will continue to cause damage over time and will continue to do so even if the initial target died. The radius of the gas effect will also increase with the range capping at a maximum of 10 stacks. Now we go to the next thing for the week. Both Xbox One and PlayStation 4 received Hotfix 2 that fixed the toggle interior and randomize all options not functioning correctly or responding at times in the Railjack configure panel, and they also fixed losing chat functionality due to a scroll bar bug. Now, specifically for Xbox One, they are aware of an inability to revive with the A button as the UI indicates, and the current workaround is to hold Y. Ivara Prime Access will be ending on the 31st of March, which of course means you won't be able to pay for the items outright with cash on the Prime Access page on the Warframe website, and the relics via Ivara Prime Access will remain in-game. But the accessories will be entering the Prime Vault alongside the relics for Limbo Prime, Distreza Prime, and the Pyrana Prime. DE Glen also updated us on a fix for the HUD disappearing in the Exploiter Orb fight by breaking down the issue, so that follows. It really should have been addressed earlier, but the problem was this bug was particularly nasty and had nothing to do with UI, and so it was sitting in the wrong team's bug backlog. We eventually boiled down the reproduction to something embarrassingly simple: just look away. When the exploder orb climbs down, there's a cinematic event that hides your HUD, and then a moment later, there's another event that fires to show the boss title card, and then show your HUD again when that's done. If the first event fires but you miss the second, your HUD is lost forever. The tricky part was figuring out why you weren't getting the second event, and the reason turned out to be quite bizarre. When the exploder orb is climbing down, the animation system classifies this behavior as flying. In order to run massive open worlds with enemies spread all over the map, the engine has to carefully prioritize what to spend time updating. Animation is a particularly expensive subsystem to update, and so when things are far away or off screen, we tend to update them less frequently, if at all. Animation for flying enemies is optimized particularly aggressively because their animations tend to be nearly impossible to see at a distance. If you aren't aiming at a flying dungeon, there's little chance you'd notice a discontinuity in the pilot's animation, so we can make the game run faster by putting it on hold. The problem is, of course, that the exploder orb is much bigger than a dungeon, and skipping its animation meant skipping important cinematic events. As it turns out, the exploder orb and other boss characters already have a specific setting that indicates their animation events are important and shouldn't be optimized away. The bug was that we happen to ignore that setting if they happen to be flying. So we've actually fixed this bug in two ways. Flying bosses won't ignore the setting that ensures animation updates aren't optimized away, and we've fused the two events in the exploder orb so that it hides and restores your HUD in a single event. Anyway, that's that, so let's continue. A new contest is live for all players on all platforms, and that's the Captura Take 2 contest. All the rules and information about that contest can be found on the forum post, which is linked in the description. To end the video, there were two tweets from DE artists, those being Kaz and Nikita. Their posts were close-ups of the Modular Archwings that will eventually be coming to Warframe eventually. Kaz's tweet shared. Here's a closer look at two of the new Archwing sets. Itzel and Elytron have been broken into parts with new winglets added. Textures are brand new PBR and fully tintable. We've also rearranged tints so they make sense with the original modular set like metal in the last tint. As for Nikita's tweet, she shared and clarified on a collection of modular Archwing pieces that had previously been shown in DevStream 140. She said, "For modular Archwing conversion, we had to break up the originals into two pieces and design new winglet attachments. While we were at it, materials were updated for cohesion, mostly tint orders and minor edits. For reference, here is an incomplete sheet. 6 columns from the right feature the new modular pieces that Kaz made mixed with the new broken up pieces. All included should be 512 combinations total, including winglets." Anyway, that does conclude this episode of Last Week in Warframe. If you found the video informative, make sure to leave a like. If you think I can improve upon the series in any way, shape or form outside of sharing my own opinion, comment section down below. If you want the channel glyph, they are up on your screen. There are 5 codes per platform. If someone has already used one of the codes, you won't be able to get the glyph via that code. If you missed out on last week's episode, the annotation on your screen will take you right to it. Click that, whatever. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.